So move my heart and move my sacred seat. Bless my hands to heal and my feet to walk a path with my ancestors. Good morning. Welcome to the Sacred Sister Circle. I'm your host, Sacred Woman Practitioner Tatami, and I am here to lead you on a little bit of a spiritual experience, hopefully for you, this beautiful Ancestor Monday. We're going to be starting off with some sacred movement. I thought because it's the last Monday of the month that we could go ahead and just do some freestyle movement for a little bit. But we do have a lot to cover today, a lot of stuff to cover today. So definitely we're going to be cracking open the Sacred Woman book really quick, and some other stuff. I do have a little bit of other stuff to go over, but we're talking about eating your way to womb health, and we're talking about other little healing methods, such as I think clay packs are in there. But we have a lot of ground to cover because, like I said, this is the thickest gateway. So it's really difficult to smash everything that you're trying to learn about the gateway into even 1 month, you know what I mean? So you can imagine how high level taking the journey with Queen is when everything is cut into a week. You know what I mean? It's like every week it feels like a huge, immense journey. So much is going on. And so we take it a little slower here just so that we can try and cover more ground. But anyways, yeah, there's a lot to go over today. So I hope you stick with me, and well, hopefully we'll learn a little bit about womb healing or refresh memories from last year if you were with me then. So to start, we're going to listen to a little Sacred Woman music, and then we'll listen to just some instrumentals, or however. Oh, well, you know what it was? I was gonna put on that space drum song. I forget what the name is, but I'll say it when I go ahead and put that one on. Let me move you guys. Let me move my little heater. I noticed in that introduction video I just posted, when I looked at it again, I had put my little heater was on and showing. Oh, you just got your book for the first time? Oh, that's amazing. I love that. I love that. Yeah. I have I have so much, writing down everything that she had learned, and making it, a very comprehensive guideline so you can make it your own, and really make the experience something that speaks to you in a personal way. So I think she did something really, really beautiful. Let me see, where was it? All right, our first song that I wanted us to just feel and warm up to is called I Wrote a Letter to Myself. This is another one of the songs that's on the Sacred Woman CD. I'm gonna sit down so you guys aren't just looking at my torso. But that's another one of the songs that's on the Sacred Woman CD, which you can get at queenafua.com. I think it's called the Sacred Woman or Medicine. I'm not sure. I think it has the word medicine in there, but I can't remember it right now off the top of my head. But it's the only CD. She only has one CD. It's a really good CD. I highly recommend it, especially if you want to just especially if you want to what was I gonna say? Have some kind of like ancestor music to move to. Loving myself has been difficult, simply to be who I am, just to believe that who I am is perfect. Looking in the mirror, here's my chest. I wrote a letter to myself and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. I wrote a letter to myself and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. So if you're not familiar with this, we're just moving to the music, our womb and connecting with the body. My face, my eyes, my smile, and that's when I realized it had been there all the while. I looked at myself, so strong, tall and proud. I looked in my heart and I knew that was fine. I wrote a letter to myself and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. Hey, I wrote a letter to myself and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. I really love that one. It's just really nice to start off the day with something quiet and but powerful, you know what I mean? Okay. First movement in the morning. It feels so good to just stretch the body. I should turn this one up. right, our final song for this morning. This is back on the Sacred Woman CD. It's called, let me get my water, y'all. It's called the Mud Woman Clan. So the reason I chose this one is because today we're talking about all these healing techniques, and that's what being in the Mud Woman Clan is about. It's not necessarily like you're initiated as some sort of full-blown priestess or all these things that a lot of people make it seem like that's what you should be immediately trying to jump into, especially when you're trying to reclaim African traditional spirituality. But it's not, that the type of thing isn't what we're talking about when we're talking about like a mud woman in the Mud Woman Clan. When we're talking about the Mud Woman, we're talking about somebody who, works roots for their business, somebody who works roots, when their family member is sick, when somebody's attacking them, they go to their kitchen healing laboratory and they can stir up healing soups, or they can clean the house, rid of that energy. They can make that business altar, that prosperity altar. They can do that protection work for the family, for the household, whatever it is that you find in your everyday life you need, protecting yourself from a coworker, all those little things. That's part of being in the Mud Woman Clan, because it's a part of it's that natural lifestyle. It's that use of the natural world around you to create what you need, to create what it is that you're trying to have in this world, or what it is you need to solve in this world. So that's why I really love this song, and obviously it will speak for itself in a lot of ways, but that's why we're dancing to that one in particular this morning. That's why we're introducing it.
I'm in the Mud Woman land, hey, yeah. I'm in the Mud Woman land, hey, yeah. I'm in the Mud Woman land, hey, yeah. I'm in the Mud Woman land, hey, yeah.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I'm in the Mud Woman land, hey, yeah. I'm in the Mud Woman land, hey, yeah. I'm in the Mud Woman land, hey, yeah. I'm in the Mud Woman land, hey. Yeah, I'm in the Mud Woman Clan. Hey, yeah, I'm in the Mud Woman Clan. Woman of the year. I'm in the Mud Woman Clan. Of divine spirit. I'm in the Mud Woman Clan. Devotee of the play movement. I'm in the Mud Woman Clan. Thanks in honor to the mother. I'm in the Mud Woman Clan. Mother side of the creator. I'm in the Mud Woman Clan. I offer this vow to you. I'm in the Mud Woman Clan. To the ring of the time. I'm in the Mud Woman Clan. Yes, throughout the Mud Woman Clan. The house of this land. I'm in the Mud Woman Clan. 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 The sacred food is in me. I'm in the Mud Woman Clan. Top birds and food set me free. Feel my body and my mind. yeah. I'm in the mud woman bag. Yeah, I'm in the mud woman bag. It's alright. I'm in the mud woman bag. Yeah, it's alright. I'm in the mud woman bag. Yeah, it's alright. I'm in the mud woman bag. Yeah, 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 I'm in the mud woman bag. Yeah.
I forgot my water. Isn't that song just fantastic though? I love that one. Feels like a good time for us to do our fire breathing. So let me see if I can fire breathe and do this at the same time. So we're going to breathe in deeply 3 times, really steady our breath. Then we're going to rapid breathe. When you breathe in, your stomach should go out. When you breathe out, your stomach should go in. And we're going to go up to 100. Please stop if you feel any kind of lightheadedness. This is something that you should be working your way up to. Definitely not just, starting off with 100 if you've never done this before. Start with like 50 if it's your very first time. All right, let's breathe in. pour in honor of Sankofa, and we answer with Ashe. We call to the ancestors known and unknown. We call to the guardians of our gateways, any ancestors in our own bloodline and history who embodied womb health, womb wisdom, who honored protection of femininity, of wombs, of womanhood. We ask that they join our circle and our healing journey as we embark on a path of womb wellness, womb healing, and also inner self-love, inner self-confidence, and inner self-nurturing. At this time, we'll take a moment of silence for you to think and call by name any ancestors of your own who you would like in particular to join you at this circle. Okay, so I wanted to start off today with a I wanted to talk about the Mojo bags a little bit more, and also give a sort of assignment for working our roots and our altars. So if you watched our earlier sister circle, we made a womb altar mojo bag. This could have been as simple as you wanted it. It could have been the elements in some little pill capsules and, you know, some words on paper in a bag. It could be as full and illustrative as and symbolic as mine was. It can be, you know, whatever you had around your home, which is how mine ended up. Mine was mostly things I just had. And it, you know, that was our goal, was to use, you know, things we have, and to remember, you know, to make it personal. So anyways, I remembered, you know, I did just call them Mojo bags, but I made us a list, if I can find it. Y'all, this is my book of power. This is my grimoire. That's what we're calling them, you know. It's pretty funny. It's just this like regular looking thing. Okay, here it is. So I went ahead and was going through this book and found this page where I had listed off names of different words that all mean mojo bag. so that if you see them, you'll know that they're meaning a mojo bag. They're meaning a little small container magic involving a little cloth bag, right, with some type of curios, herbs, things inside of it, to work, their mojo, their roots. So our first is a nation sack. The nation sack is something that was usually considered a mojo bag that was especially for women and children, or to protect women and children. It also was used for drawing love, but nation sacks are just a form of mojo bag. If you hear someone say, "That's my bag of tricks," "That's his bag of tricks," I know we have different meanings for these things, but hoodoo, that also means mojo, a mojo bag of some sort. So they have something up their sleeves, is basically what they're saying, right? We have grease. I don't even know how to say that, y'all. I've never said it. I don't know anyone who said it. Gris, I think. If you see that written somewhere, I see it written by people, but I don't know. I don't know anybody who refers it to that in real life. You know what I mean? But I know people in the Bay Area do. But I don't think I've ever learned from anyone in the Bay Area, if I'm being completely honest. Am I being honest? I've never actually learned from anyone who's from here. You know what I mean? Everyone I've ever connected with has usually been from the South or been from the East Coast, including my family, my birth family, my mother's side, my African American side was Southern. So, yeah, I don't know many Californians in that regard. Anyways, but I know it's a little different everywhere. I know that. But I know that word is also from the South, but I just don't know anybody who said it. Anyways, if somebody calls it their hand, it is, just another thing, their appendage they're working with. If some refer to it that way in conversation, I know that is also a mojo bag. Let me see if I can see y'all. There we go. My kids. I can't ever tell if they're talking to me. All right, we have trick bag, which is kind of like bag of tricks. I've also written here luck ball. If they call it their flannel, that one, because it's, like I said, it's a piece of cloth. And so, and it can be simple, just a couple things, and then everything pulled up and wrapped around. And then we have, oh, that was it. I think I said them all. All right, so this tradition is similar to other container magic that people do, but I thought that would be a fun thing to share, a fun page to share with you all, just considering we did that recently. But when you look at your little bag, you have to remember that it's like a little mini universe in your hand. It's an altar, a portal. It's something powerful that you're carrying with you to continuously keep this energy going, keep this momentum going, keep the protection around you, or the energy around you that you're trying to facilitate. Don't forget to feed your bag. That was the other reason I'm bringing all this up. I think it would be a good reminder to sprinkle a circle of offerings around it, or a little bit on top of it. Herbs, magnetic sand to attract, right, what you were trying to get. Let's see, I also have herbal oils, dusts, dirts, If you have more, fertile dirt, or you have something else that represents that growth, that movement. We have Florida water, um, nutmeg. I said magnet sand, five-finger grass, chamomile oil, um, powdered John the Conqueror roots, or putting the actual John the Conqueror. If you had it, you could have put it inside of it, right? But you could also put it on top, around, like I said. John the Conqueror, right? Will definitely add some strength to whatever it is you're doing. Okay, so that was all I have for that today. But we're gonna move right on to page, I believe, 78. Okay. So this is the real deal, right? This is where we're talking about going vegetarian. Okay. I guess I need to see what they're talking about. Apparently they were just playing. What do I know? I mean, really, did that sound like a game team? No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so where was I? Page 78. All these hard ass songs playing right here. So yeah, this is the part where we talk about diet, its effect on the womb. It's not just like, a nutritional thing, like I've said. It has to do with lifting the colon up off of the womb, allowing the womb to not be weighed down. It involves using your movements to also help facilitate that process. That's another reason we do sacred movement, to help get the digestive system going, and remove that stagnation. So this is a commitment, especially if you're sick. And we're not, no games anymore. So your choices have affected you up to this point, right? Some of us, most of us, it's probably years of, abuse on the body in many different ways. Like, we can call it what it is. A lot of people are like, being vegan isn't healthy necessarily, which is so true. But this idea that being pressed to eat less processed foods, being pressed to eat less meats, because that's what my goal is for everyone in the sister circle. I'm not trying to turn anyone vegan or even plant based. Like, that is the furthest thing from my mind. I just, that's those causes, they're beautiful in their own ways. But our focus here is to reduce meat and dairy and starch intake, reduce processed food intake with all of those. I mean, at the end of the day, the processed foods have less nutrition. They're also filled with chemicals. They really are. They're directly linked. I put a link in the Patreon, but they're directly linked to giving young people with wombs early puberty, giving them periods at like 9 years old, prior to 13, prior to like 12. It's kind of sad. It's really sad to think about. Some people, that is a natural thing that happens to them, but it shouldn't be a very common occurrence like it is. And these types of things are preventable if you can't afford it. And so if we're going to invest in our health and invest in our wellness, which is what you're doing, if you're saying, I have wound trauma of some sort, I need a hysterectomy for whatever reason, or I have a lot of wound pain, I have a terrible period, I have been abused, and I don't even know how to connect with my womb area. Whatever it is that you're saying to yourself, there's a problem and I need to change it, it's going to require investing as much as you can into that and facilitating your energy into that healing. So part of that is the diet, part of that is making that change, part of that is learning to prep meals so you have something to grab and heat up throughout the week. Whatever it is that you're learning to do that cuts back on meat, you know what I mean? There are little things that we're going to be doing that like she and in the book she gives you that progressive list of how we're going to if you're this is the commitment you're willing to make, like you're going to get a small benefit from that small commitment. But she does give you that information on that small commitment. So I think the journey is really up to you, up to what you feel, one, you want to commit to, and then two, that has to coincide with what your reality is. You know what I mean? Like a couple years ago I was in a homeless shelter, so it wasn't realistic to follow a sacred woman diet. You know what I mean? If you're living off of different situations, you're living in different situations where it's impossible pretty much to do that. You're getting food from the Salvation Army, and it has processed food in there, and it has things that will just make you full for right now and have to be eaten right now anyways. And so those types of things, those types of situations, that wouldn't make you any less of a sacred woman, but at the end of the day it does negatively affect your body, and that is what we try to avoid as much as we can. The more you cleanse, we're on 78, the Sacred Woman's Womb Wellness Diet. The more you cleanse the body, the easier it is to make healthy changes. As you look over the Sacred Woman's Womb Wellness Diet, you'll see that this womb diet is basically vegetarian. While you don't have to be vegetarian to get on board with your womb wellness, you do need to start cutting back on flesh foods. So I think that encapsulates everything I was just saying. While you don't need to go full vegetarian, vegan, plant-based, label it, you do need to cut back on meat. You do need to cut back on the flesh foods, the foods that come from the flesh, because the more it's more, even more in depth than the more foods you eat that bleed, the more you bleed. It's that there's not even that much nutritional value, sadly, even in a lot of the food that we have. I mean, a lot of the meat products that we have, especially if you're buying it on the cheaper end. So really ultimately finding ways to cut back that meat product is the ultimate goal. And the flesh products, dairy as well. Um, Going vegetarian, beginning. If you're able to make a change now and you've been eating all levels of flesh, graduate to fresh fish, not shellfish, for the next 21 days. Just fish, as fresh as you're able to find it. It's the least toxic of all the flesh foods. Keep in mind all the chemicals, all the antibiotics, steroids, and other hormones that are injected into our meat supply. They completely disrupt our hormonal balance. Don't forget that the more you take in something that bleeds, the more you bleed. So you want to come off the beef right now. You want to come off the chicken. If you crave that taste, then work with the flesh food alternatives. Work with soy proteins, try soy chicken or soy turkey. There's even soy bacon. We want this first stage of purification to be a painless womb process. So the first choice of transition protein is fish and soy. All right, y'all. Advanced. If you're ready to take the plunge into the deep cleansing work and go vegetarian, the protein sources in your diet will be beans, peas, lentils, and limited amounts of nuts and seeds. Don't just overindulge in the nuts and seeds because you'll bleed as heavily as you do on flesh foods. Don't forget that overindulgence in any of the proteins feeds tumors. The Womb Wellness diet calls for vegetarian proteins. So if you're having fish, then on Monday you have fish, Tuesday black beans with brown rice or millet and vegetables, Wednesday fish with vegetables, Thursday kidney beans, and so on. There are primary enemies that attack the womb on a dietary level. One is flesh foods, one is dairy, another is white flour products. Milk, cheese, ice cream, eggs, and flesh foods feed a tumor. Tumors grow on something inside of you. They don't come out of the air. When you add all the intense emotions you're feeling, anger, pain, frustration, to meat, dairy, and white flour foods, you're giving your tumor a banquet. Every time you find yourself eating heavy foods, you're giving your body negative affirmations. You're saying, I'm angry because eating the flesh is an expression of anger or rage. You're tired because you're eating these heavy foods that get you tired. You feel lifeless, and so your body is not able to assist and support you. Um, I think we also recognize, what she's saying in the sense that, when you're when you're we all have like a food or something that we indulge in when we're sad or when we're depressed, especially if you have that going on. um, you really need to be able to watch that and be able to pinpoint where you're, instead of addressing the situation and healing the situation, bandaging it over with your you know bandaging it over with like something that will temporarily make you feel better. You know what I mean? Like eating. But taking that time to heal yourself with your food is the main importance. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that grape beef. Fighting over grapes. Oh my goodness. Oh, I left my book over there, of course. Okay, so let's see where we're reading. But when you cleanse your body literally wakens up when something foreign enters it. It will automatically begin to expel toxic foods, just as it will begin to expel toxic thoughts, or toxic attitudes. That's what we're striving for. So work on those principles as you follow your womb diet as closely as you can. Begin to work with nature's bounty herbs. So this section is a little bit about the natural herbs that you can be using. Um, all of the herbs I mentioned can be purchased at a good health food store. An outstanding womb toner is red raspberry tea, or if you experience heavy bleeding, try dandelion to replenish your iron. If you're suffering from tumors or cysts, get goldenrod. On pages 138 to 139, I do suggest specific teas for different womb healing projects, but right now we want to work with one particular tonic first, WombWorks tea, available from Heal Thyself. So she has a womb tea right here. She also has womb teas on queenafua.com. There's also a billion womb teas out there, and pretty much most of them you'll find are red raspberry based, red raspberry leaf based, nettle based. They're good womb teas for the most part, but you do need to be very careful. Looking at the ingredients, double check what they say is in there, because people, they some people do make teas and they don't actually really know what they're doing. You know what I mean? They just Googled like the words like, oh, like that is, good for if you're trying to do this or do that. And then they can potentially be putting something that's poisonous. I've seen that happen with abortificants, amenagogues, I think is what they're called, herbs that help make an abortion occur, which have been used for pretty much since the beginning of time, and they grow on every continent. Go figure. But some of them are more dangerous than others. Some of them are, not even supposed to really be used. Like, they've killed people before. Like, that's why being able to get a medical abortion is such a big deal for people to be able to do. Because, first of all, people have been using babies to trap people with wombs, women, for the most part. Also rebellious types, women who didn't fit into certain norms, using those babies to trap them, which still occurs today, which is why being able to have access to something like that really is important, because using herbs is dangerous. A lot of the times it's not a joke, it's medicinal, you know what I mean? It's something that you should be going to school to practice with. That's why, you know, the herbs she says in this book are usually pretty like basic, you know what I mean? These are basic herbs that you can just have in a culinary closet, in a kitchen, you know what I mean, in a kitchen in a home, and it's not really that big of a deal. But be careful about, you know, just going online and seeing those big lists, those extra long lists that, you know, are just like, they all give an abortion. And then, you know, people out there who are desperate, who are like, I don't have insurance. I don't even know where I go for all this. Like, I don't even know what to do about all this. Would then what can they do, you know what I mean? They then go out and buy these things and put themselves in danger the same way people were in danger, you know, 100 200 years ago, and people did in fact, you know, pass away. So just be careful when you're making your own, you know, thing. That was my little PSA warning. Womb tea. Boil 4 or 5 cups of water in a stainless steel, a glass, or any another type of pot, but just not an aluminum pot. Um, Boil this at night before you go to sleep. Turn off the water and add your herbs. You're adding 2 to 3 teaspoons each. Dried red raspberry, dandelion, and goldenrod. If you only have one, I'll be honest, I think I only have dandelion. Make yourself a dandelion tea or use other herbs that you might have. You know, that you, if you have the book, hopefully you can turn to page 138 and look and see if there's another herb on the list that you have, or use an herb that you have, such as lavender or rose, and you know, mix your blessings in with that, and make yourself something, a very simple but impactful tea that is infused with your own energy, and what you have in the home. um, you're going to let it steep overnight, and in the morning when you arise between 4 and 6 a.m., hopefully you can or do, sip the Wombworks tea before or after prayer time, during your soul fast, in your meditation, in your womb state, in your birthing process. What you're doing is allowing those herbs to become a part of your womb and to begin to flush the toxins out. The benefits of celibacy during womb renewal work. So again, if you are married, or, you know, 10 years plus deep in a long-term partnership, um, like living together, finances together, that type of thing, then of course you're not going to do something like 6 months of celibacy. But there's nothing wrong with, you know, making a small allotted amount of time to really work on your intimacy in other ways. Especially if you think that, you know, you guys are struggling with communication, or, you know, energy that goes beyond sexual energy right now. That's really important. That fake crying. During this time, if you're able, celebrate yourself by being celibate. This is the time that you're clearing away for womb restoration, a womb celebration, and a womb renewal. So you can commit to holding on to yourself, so you can receive the spiritual wisdom that is now coming through and is so soul cleansing for you. When your partner wants to mate, offer gentle affirming kisses and warm cuddly hugs. Offer herbal tea. If your mate really wants to be with you, run an Epsom salt or Dead Sea salt bath and put some herbs, bubbles, and rose petals in it. Do not use salts if you or your lover have high blood pressure or edema. That's how you make love to your mate when you're being celibate, because there are many different ways of loving someone. I do think that that is a really powerful thing to always remember, especially if you have a partner, is to give them spiritual baths, not just as maintenance, but as, you know, ways of communication, of, saying I love you, saying I'm sorry, of saying, different things, of saying like that you're ready for something, or, that this is like a path you're going down. There's so many ways that you can really personalize baths and rituals and really involve family, even not like very witchy family, but you can make something be highly personal and not too strange or contrived, or going on and on to the ancestors, out loud, or whatever it is that might really disturb them. Really keep it at something that you two can connect with and connect over, while still being a sacred and spiritual experience. In our renewal work of the Most High Womb Presence, begin to work the Most High Womb Presence, begin to connect with us and to speak to us. That's why we often feel as though we are hearing a voice. And you're going to say, wait a minute, what's going on here? If you tell your sister friends what you're hearing, you'll discover that we're all hearing some of the same messages, because we're all having some of the same cycles. We're all the children of the blessed, children of the Most High. We've all gone through many of the same things, so we don't have to be ashamed of any of it, whether we speak about it or not. Always remember that it's in the releasing that the healing takes place. Always remember that it's within the releasing that the healing takes place. Even if you think that you don't have the strength, just go into your bathroom, your hydrotherapy room, and light a candle. Put fresh flowers in there, create a divine altar of that bathroom, because that's where you're going to do your cleansing. Let your bathroom become your healing sanctuary. That's where you can turn the lights off, tell yourself, no one is here but me and the Most High. It is the Mother Principle who is here. It is Ost, it is Nevet Het, it is my aunt, it is all the angelic forces of the Most High. It is me and my divine self. The Creator is an expression of femaleness as well as an expression of maleness. Oh wait, before I move on to that, definitely, yeah, using the different rooms of your house, because like I said, once you get to that point where you're really spreading the concept of an altar out to the rest of your home, that's when you really start to make each room a healing room, right? Make each room a sacred room, should I say. Each room a sacred or spiritual experience, right? It's like, I think I was talking at that tidying show last time. What Marie Kondo, I think is her name, is really saying, is how to make each room sacred, how to treat each object as if it was sacred. Each thing in your house is sacred. You don't have things that you don't really want, or that you don't really look at, or that you don't really care about, piling up in your house, things that you said you were going to do but you never do, things that are not organized. Treating each of your objects with reverence down to the last paper, allowing the whole room to be a sacred spiritual experience. So yes, go to your bathroom. Hopefully it's, you're keeping it clean and you're keeping it decorated in a way that is inviting to you, and go in there and light even just one candle lit, or arrange a couple stones. You know what I mean? It doesn't even have to be this extravagant, crazy altar of Pinterest status, 100 candles in the walls and the ceilings to make your bathroom into an altar. The Creator is an expression of femaleness as well as an expression of maleness. We have the right to anoint our sacred female space. How could it not be sacred when wombs create all life? So, however you are, that creation is a balance, right? We're talking about Mott and that balance that comes from within ourselves, balancing both our feminine and our masculine energy, and recognizing that feminine and masculine energy is part of what makes that the womb so sacred, and it is a sacred place, and it is a sacred place of creation that creates maleness, that creates femaleness, that creates a whole, plethora of different uh, identifications in between, looks in between, styles in between. There's really no telling what the womb will produce, right? And that goes for, the looks, right, too. You can produce children that look all sorts of range. You can produce projects that are all sorts of range. The womb is a powerhouse of creation. Um, the whole world comes from our wombs. As we create better thoughts and ideas, more creativity will flow through the wombs, through our wombs and out into the world. I may not have another human child, but Sacred Woman is truly my child, for I have gone through true labor to birth her. For me, birthing a child, a book, or a dance is part of the same cycle of creativity. The births are the culmination of a period of growth and the expression of the life force. I remember my mother saying, "Where are you going now?" And I and I'd say, "I've got to go to dance class. I must dance to save my womb." When I dance, I connect with the spirit and I feel my womb release. I feel my womb being restored, and I feel my heart empty out the relationships that need to be flushed out so I can claim a new body, a new mind, and a new heart. It's not that we have to do so much or that we have to change so much, but we can't afford to have our wombs working against us. We don't want our wombs to hurt us anymore. We don't want to be angry and use our wombs to strike out at others, other sisters, other womb bearers, because we're having PMS or we're in a pain because we're with a manipulated lover. We don't even have to have PMS. We don't have to let our menses be a painful experience. One of the joys I experience is when women go through their womb healing is hearing them say, "Wow, my menses just came discreetly. Didn't come as an irritant. It didn't call me out and make me tighten up 2-3 days before." That's not who you truly are, that pain, the tightening, the fear. Womb work is not based on the attitude that you're going to do all this hard labor. Rather, it's based on loving experience, on self-love, and it's going to be the greatest love relationship that you've ever had in your life. I love that quote too. All right, so we're going to turn the page to the Womb Wellness Cleansing Food Plan. Before we start, speaking of food, to the project that I wanted us to do, the homework that I wanted everyone to do, and I'll make a post about it on Patreon sometime this week too, is that idea of making a dried food offering for your altar for perhaps use to circle around your Mojo bag. Using dried foods such as rice, dried beans, dried seaweed, what are other dry lentils, grains. These different foods as an offering on your altar is a way to ensure you have something that's not going rancid or bad on your altar that you're having to keep up with constantly. And it also is something that is there to use to feed the ancestors, to feed the bag, to use for different uses on the altar. So my homework for you is, if you are thinking you need to make some sort of food offering for the ancestors or whatever it is you practice, however it is you work, then definitely go ahead and make that. Like I said, I'll make a post that gives more options and ideas perhaps, but really try to use what you have at home and make it your own. I'm gonna go check on my kids, y'all. Wow, yo, my daughter just used the word mine in a sentence correctly for the first time. She said, talk at 8 mine. Oh, goodness. All right, we're on page 80. Green foods will help to connect you to your spiritual essence. The more green you take in, the more forgiveness comes through. The green represents the gateways to your spiritual life. It helps you communicate on a higher spiritual plane. That's where the significance comes in. You can also infuse your being with the color green by visualizing it filling your womb when you meditate or when you take your salt baths. Flesh foods and mucus forming foods destroy the life of the womb, allowing disease to settle in. Avoid these mucus forming foods: white flour, pasta, white bread, white rice, white potatoes, dairy foods. Use grains in moderation, even whole grains. The ultimate goal is to eat them only when the sun is at the highest point in the day, in the sky, midday, noon. The following dietary recommendations also help you eliminate congestion, mucus, tumors, fibroids, and cysts. So this is before breakfast: kidney, liver, flesh. She said, on the onset of this cleansing regime, fast from all starch because it causes congestion throughout the body along with constipation and stagnation. Also, fast from all protein for at least 7 days because it can give your body much needed rest. So, this week, let's focus on not eating meats. Let's focus on it. Like, if you want to do that challenge, you can do it. Choose one of the three. Choose, or do all three if you're feeling crazy, but you can do either that womb tea, make yourself a womb tea with some herbs, or go out and buy yourself some dandelion and add some stuff to it, make it do what it do, however it is you can. Either do the womb, you can not eat meat for the next 7 days to give your body a rest from meat products. Or you can do this before breakfast: kidney, liver, flesh. See how this is some hardcore stuff. I feel like I feel like it's hard for me to drink when I do this. The kidney, liver, flesh lasts for 7 to 21 days. Colonies and liquid kyolic can be purchased in a health food store. In your blender, mix 2 tablespoons of colonies, and that's colon ease, as in the colon, COLONEs, or cold pressed extra virgin olive oil with equal parts of castor oil. That's gonna cleanse you out, okay? You can just do it with only the olive oil if that's all you have, but hopefully you have some castor oil to mix with that. Because the castor oil is important, but I know a lot of people might not have it. You then have 12 drops liquid kyolic garlic or 2 fresh garlic cloves crushed. Juice 1 lemon or lime, or have 1 to 2 tablespoons of organic apple cider vinegar. Have 1 pinch of cayenne pepper. Don't do that if you have high blood pressure. And add 8 ounces of warm water to this and mix it up. Put it in the blender. Let it get all mixed up together. Blend that up, drink it all down. It's a very difficult one, and I've done this without the garlic. I haven't even gotten, because I can barely do the mixture before putting in the garlic. Oh after but that will cleanse you out if that's what you're trying to do. Especially that one, I think, is best to do if you do after you do like a 7-day pause from meat, or like maybe even you did a 1-day pause from meat, and then the second day you start doing that will really cleanse your colon out and really lift it off the womb. I guarantee that. There's also a version of these oils that really cleanse you out on Queen's website. I think she has some sort of thing called like colon something as well. And hers as well is like capable of cleansing you out. So what you'll have for breakfast: gone are the days of cereal. For breakfast, eat fruit instead. Make yourself a huge fruit platter. Seriously. Make yourself exactly like how, Instagram do this too. They always love it to make a huge fruit platter. I see on YouTube people make huge fruit platters and then be like, "You want to see me the whole fruit platter?" White people love to do that. They love eating a whole fruit platter. That should be you though. That should be you. You should be eating a whole big platter of fruit for breakfast, and it does take time to be able to build that up. And there should be, I think if it's, especially as you're transitioning, having a small bowl of something to eat with that, like a small bowl of oatmeal, a small bowl of something like substantial to go with that, can help, especially as you're transitioning and in this colder weather when you're like fruit though, like for every morning. Like in the morning, I want something that's like steaming in my face and sticking to my ribs. So she says here, have 1 to 3 pieces of fruit. For example, apples or pears. Blend those with half to 1 cup of strawberries. So she's saying make smoothies out of it. Make those little smoothie bowls. Just cut the fruit up and present it nicely on a plate and eat it that way. Have like something to like dip it in and continue with that. I mean, like cook the fruit even sometimes. If you're like, that's something I do for my kids all the time. I just make like an apple pie filling basically and make that for breakfast, like mix like that with a little bit of oatmeal, but it's mostly the apple pie filling. It's very simple, but it's very tasty and it's very filling, right? It's hot. That's another one that's hot. I don't know why I'm like keep talking about hot breakfast. I'm like, you want a hot breakfast? Have half a cup of mixed blueberries and raspberries. So just get some blueberries and raspberries, mix them up in a bowl, eat that for breakfast. Foods in the berry family, including cranberries, are very good for cleansing the womb and the bloodstream. Vital red energy detoxes and cleanses. This leads to a very healthy menses. Note that Queen is saying you should have a menses, y'all. I'm reading that like people. I know we're supposed to have a menses. Queen says we're supposed to have a menses. Oh no, my phone is dying. Let's see if I can reach. Here. All right. I think we're good. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. Do not eat bananas during your first month of trying to cleanse because these can cause constipation, gas, and bloating, particularly if not well ripened. The only way I'd say you should be eating bananas is if you like make yourself some like, I don't know, wheat bread, banana bread, but really try not to eat those because they are starch. If you look at the history of the banana, actually, this is some random African history, but the banana is from the, or not the banana, what was I going to say? The plantain. That's what I was going to say. Plantains are something that actually saved people in Africa a long time ago, ancient Africa, way back when. People were, trying to live in these jungly areas, and they were finding that, exactly what they find at Naked and Afraid, that the jungle is not just like, it's paradise, fruit is hanging from every bough. It's actually a lot of these trees, it's very wet in there. A lot of the trees aren't bearing any type of edible anything. The leaves aren't even edible of these trees. It's a very hard place to live. And plantains growing and being able to, cook those and utilize those were a main food source. The way South Americans had potatoes, they had like 800 types of potatoes. They were, that was like in a corn, in North America, right? They had that whole corn thing. In Africa, it was a plantain. In a lot of parts of Africa, it was a plantain, and that was like a carb. That's like the heavy part of the meal source. So that's why she's saying here that you're not supposed to be eating that like as if it's the cleansing part of the palate, because it's really not. It's more akin to eating bread, like a healthier bread, but it's still kind of like eating bread. So just for this first month of transitioning, these first few weeks of the transition of your diet, stay away from the bananas and a dependency on eating them. Juices are particularly terrific for breakfast. Fresh pressed grapefruit, pineapple, orange, apple, or unsweetened cranberry. Use 4 ounces of juice to 4 ounces of water, distilled or purified. If your disposition is a little evil, you might need an extra add of sweetness that day. Add a pinch of cinnamon or nutmeg to your juices or fruit smoothies. Or fruit sauces. Cinnamon's also good if you're feeling deprived, you can't hear your inner voice. You're thinking, oh, this is all just too much. I want to just eat what I want to eat when I want to eat it. That's when you put the cinnamon in and you keep your rebellion in check. Remember, the more you stick to your womb healing work, the more energy you'll have. Do a little bit more than you think you can do every day. It would be ideal if you're able to prepare everything fresh. Even if that's not possible, especially in the beginning, just try to stick to your fresh juices and fresh fruit. Don't let your devitalized insides talk you out of your own wellness. So do what you can. If you make apple or pear sauce at night, make a nice jar of it to go to work the next day. That way you're eating the best quality products. Make sure you purchase organic fruits and vegetables, or soak produce for a few minutes in a bowl with distilled water and half a cup of organic apple cider vinegar. After soaking, rinse off if you have a water purifier attached to your sink, or use the best possible water you have to cleanse your food. Lunchtime will all consist of a large, delicious, and vital raw salad. Fill that salad up. Cut up a bunch of different types of greens so that there's different textures. Like, don't just go for that iceberg lettuce or whatever. I think it really helps to get a couple of different base ones. So get the different types of lettuces that you like. Darker leaves obviously have that nutritional value. My stomach. I'm hungry. My stomach. What was I gonna say? I'm like talking about this food, y'all. Get spinach, get that type of thing for the big base part. Kale is another one. That's the other one I was trying to think. So spinach, kale, and different types of lettuce. Then get things like parsley, different herbs, right? Like parsley, chives, watercress. Those little things that you can just chop up a few of the stems in it, and it changes the whole dish. It really makes the whole dish of food come to life, that salad. So you're making a huge thing of that. You're adding in different vegetables, different raw vegetables. Chop them up small so it's not intimidating when you're trying to eat it and it gets in your mouth, and it's like a whole thing of just raw broccoli, raw cauliflower. If you're going to do things like that, you need to chop it up really small. Mushrooms, try and keep those really small too. What was the other thing I was gonna say? Your carrots, try and keep it shredded, or keep them really thin. And your bell peppers, what other things? There's so many different things. Add a little salt and pepper to your salad. Make it something that you really can, that you're really gonna enjoy. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a boring salad, and it should be something that's filling. So it should be big. Make a big bowl of it or a big plate of it and make it beautiful. puts your time and effort and your energy into it, because that's part of, kitchen witching and making your kitchen a healing laboratory as well. Let's see. So for dinner, you make another large salad and then add grains to the salad, such as tabbouleh, couscous, or bulgur wheat. Oh, I was also going to say with these salads, occasionally a good tip also is to massage the salad before you start adding all those trimmings and trappings. Just massage the leaves together, maybe with a little bit of olive oil and some type of salt, like a couple things of sea salt. And massage it so it like bruises a little and releases some of the juices and really makes it, an enjoyable experience. Like I said, like, there are ways to switch up making salads. And I bet if you go on YouTube and go straight to like, the salad making people, there's people out there making gourmet salads, taking salads to the next level everywhere, and can give you some really good ideas. To add some seeds, to add some nuts, to add some dried fruits, to add how to make good salad dressings. There's endless possibilities, and there's a lot of vegetarian or vegan ones. But I mean, it's like at this point, just use the salad dressings that will make you feel like eating salad. I think still having some of those fats in your body is at this time in our journey, in our process, it will still be okay to just eat whatever ones you want. But if you're making it, that hardcore step, definitely look at the ingredients. To prepare wheats, those live wheats. There, oh my goodness, my children's. First, put 2 cups of grain into a large bowl. This will last you for a few days. Oh my goodness. Okay, um, so you take 2 cups of the whatever wheat grain it is that you're using. If you go to those bulk food stores, like really healthy food stores, you're able to just go in there, grab stuff that, you know, like all sorts of different types of, like, it will have like Egyptian couscous, this types of that, you know what I mean? 7 grains of, you know, like I've been to some really, really like healthy types of like hole in the wall food health places and seeing some really interesting and tasted some really interesting wheat. So, you know, it's a good time to experiment. And it's also really cheap to go get that bulk wheat. I mean, some of them are also obviously more expensive than others. There are a lot of really cheap, healthy wheats out there that you can buy in that way. So take, you know, your reusable bag, go fill it up and get yourself some of that, put it in glass jars when you get home if you can. That would be, you know, optimal storage. Um, First, put 2 cups of the grain into a large bowl. This will last you for a few days. Pour 2 cups of water over the grain, cover the bowl, let the grain soak 7 minutes or up to 15 minutes for the coarser grains. Then taste the teaspoon to see if it's still hard. If it's not soft, add more water. In 3 to 4 minutes, this live grain should be done. Refrigerate your leftovers. So there are some grains that I think you will find with experimentation are just like simply too hard. And with, you know, research online, I think you'll be able to find the ones that are optimal for doing this method. Because I have most of the ones I've used have worked, but I forget, you know, some of the weirder ones that I've experimented with definitely took like way more than just pouring over. So there are some, most can do this, but there are some, like obviously if you like accidentally choose them, just letting you know that there are some that will be like, well, this is so way too hard to eat. While the grains are plumping, chop all the various vegetables you want to add to the grains. Fluff up the grain with a fork, then add your vegetables and marinate these ingredients together for 10 minutes. Add a special healing herb to, a very special healing herb to add to your green dishes is sage. The sage I mean is Salvia officinalis, the herb your grandmother stuffed into Thanksgiving turkey, not the wild desert sage that you burn for sacred smoke cleansing. Although both kinds of sage are powerful herbs for us to use. Salvia officinalis provides a wonderful cleansing for the body and womb. And that one also can be used for smoke cleansing. Both can be used for smoke cleansing. The one that's for food is just one that you know is used by a lot of Black folk because it's just in this country. You know what I mean? It grows. But both grow here, but one is the white sage is the one that's being over harvested, that's like sacred to specific cultures, that sort of thing. So unless you're breastfeeding, because this does stop milk flow, so if you're breastfeeding, don't take Salvia officinalis sage, you know, too much. Base of salad, avoid iceberg lettuce because it's devoid of nutrients. Work instead with grated purple or green cabbage or both. You know, the other day I had someone made me a salad real quick. She whipped this thing up so fast. She sliced cabbage super thin, added arugula, balsamic vinegar. That's it. That's it. It was so good. It was so good. So salads, you know, they can be really simple. Use those little things that, you know, you don't usually expect, or, you know, that people do take the time to put in those little ingredients. So go ahead and, you know, chop up your cabbage really fine, add that to the salad, green cabbage, purple cabbage, live fresh vegetables like green and bell peppers, red bell peppers, celery, grated carrots. Okra also is essential for maintaining womb wellness. Have okra every day as a purge. For those of you who have never enjoyed cooked okra, let me tell you, fresh raw okra is never slimy. Just chop it up in small pieces, add it to your bulgur or whatever your grain you're preparing, and it's delicious. Yeah, the okra, you know, it has this like binding, like, like how aloe comes out and it's kind of that stickiness. So, right, okra has that kind of that type of property to it. And it definitely, what was I going to say about that? it has that kind of property to it. And like people use it to like thicken up their soups. You like, I know people fry with it. I tried fried okra. Actually, I tried frying it. It was actually pretty good, but it did still maintain that sliminess. But the sliminess helped because it acted like a coating, like egg whites. So you didn't really have to do much. You just have to kind of toss the okra into your batter and let it do its own thing, which was really cool. But anyways, eating it raw, eating it cooked, either way, okra is really good for womb health. It's really cleansing. If you still don't like okra, use flaxseed. Use 2 tablespoons of flaxseed in purified water. It gels up overnight. Then you can blend that into your fruit sauces, your fruit juices. And also, if you're making those homemade marinades, things like that. Protein sources. Use alfalfa sprouts, mung bean sprouts, anything in the sprouts family. On page 82, next page, she has more suggestions. I'm reluctant to suggest nuts because experience shows me that when people hear they can eat nuts, they tend to overdo the um, the nuts, rationalizing them as substitutes for everything. We're sacrificing as we begin to develop conscious eating habits. Try eating seeds instead of nuts. Um, but don't overdo on seeds either. So just use them to sprinkle and garnish on the top. They do sell like seed medleys, which you shouldn't like buy the seed medley unless it's like on super sale or something. But you can make yourself seed medleys. Buy the big bag of sunflower, shelled sunflower or shelled pumpkin seeds, and mix that up yourself with some cranberries, dried blueberries, other little dried things to put in there. Other suggestions like dried ginger, chop it up really small, really tiny, mix that into your food. There's a few different ways that you can really make that your own. So just sprinkle over your finished salad a few raw unsalted sunflower seeds that you've soaked those in half an hour in pure water. Tofu. Watch your consumption of tofu, as you can get just clogged up on tofu, which is soy, as you can with cheese. So if you want to use tofu, take a fourth of the big cake, chop it up into tiny cubes, let it marinate with your bulgur or your vegetables, let it sit by itself, put some brine seasoning on it, or you can use cayenne pepper, garlic, kelp as a seasoning, or a little cold pressed extra virgin olive oil. You want to use the olive oil because cold pressed olive oil because it's untreated and contains chlorophyll. 2 to 3 tablespoons of hummus. Also, as you make your transition to live foods, but keep in mind we're trying to get away from a dependency on only cooked foods. Your lunch and dinner menus are the same, with variations that you'll begin to enjoy more and more. You'll discover over time that your taste buds become increasingly sensitive. And you'll begin to relish those subtle differences in taste of each ingredient of your live salads. If you have food processors, you can really work. Put broccoli, turnips, cabbage, other different greens, grate them, spread them over your salad as a lush live food dressing. Use herbs that you can try growing your own pot in the window box. And let's see, if you want a full feeling, a sense that you've eaten a starch, the grated vegetables over the grain would give you that full feeling. Experiment with broccoli, celery, green or purple cabbage, try green onions. Kelp is high in iron, good for your thyroid and immune system. You can also get like salt shaker type kelp. If you crave fish, this also helps by using kelp in your vegetables. It keeps you feeling more satisfied. Add other nutrition, spirulina, wheatgrass, sprinkle vitamin C. Lecithin helps to open your arteries, blood and oxygen can flow. Routinely add a tablespoon of lecithin to 8 ounces of live juices. Use your juices, vegetable juices. If you have a juicer, that's really excellent. I would say if you have to buy anything, probably a NutriBullet would be really useful because you can blend everything all into that in that one container. Take that thing to go. You can like use that kind of as a food processor. You can also use it to make like sauces. I think like if you have like, and it's also like $100, so it's like a pretty high powered like little device. I think that's also super helpful. But there are other ones that are obviously like better devices. And if you can only afford like a $20 blender, then I think, you know, that's what you should probably get. Um, and just make your self smoothies with all of these things. But yeah, adding those nutrients and different things to your smoothies will really help if you have those different powders that you have bought. Queen also has something called Green Life, which I usually add to my smoothies. The Womb Wellness Cleansing Food Plan. Do eat lentils, sprouts, soybeans, tofu, peas, nuts, soy-based meats. TVP, texturized vegetable protein. That's one that I know a lot of people use, texturized protein, which I'm pretty sure is also soy. Many soy products, though, beware, contain egg whites and MSG, so read the labels. Soak all the beans, seeds, and nuts overnight in water for better digestion. If you want a faster snack, soak nuts and seeds for at least 10 minutes, but try not to make it a habit to have them soak such little time, and try to soak all of them for better digestion. Do not eat clams, oysters, lobsters, or shrimp. These are brooms that are cleaning up the ocean by gathering up toxins. So if your womb is toxic and you're trying to cleanse your womb from having those toxins in it, don't eat a toxic food that eats toxins in the ocean, you know, that's crawling around on the ocean floor eating toxins. Don't get avoid pork, lamb, beef, chicken, and MSG. If you must have a transition period from eating flesh, and this is for people who are trying to be serious about, you know, their womb healing some situation in their life, then eat only baked or steamed fish no more than 2 or 3 times a week. That I think should be the ultimate goal, is to eat meat only 2 to 3 times a week. And that's not in a day, eat 2 to 3 times that day, and like, this is a meat day, so I eat whatever. I think really carefully planning out the meat, you know, this is how much meat like should be eaten this month or this week by me, and having days where there's only vegetables eaten, and really normalizing that within your family unit, within yourself, however it is that you have to do it to make that process easier. Abstain from heavier starches and eat them in moderation, such as the baked sweet potato, raw or cooked carrots, or raw or cooked corn on the cob, and whole grain bread. So it's like, if you're having like a hard morning and you do want that hot breakfast, I think a sweet potato is another easy and filling and healthy way to do that. But do like in moderation. Don't be doing that every day. Just do it on like a day where you feel like you need that extra boost because you've been feeling extra hungry or something like that. Make your own bread by grinding down powder of sunflower and pumpkin down to a powder of sunflower and pumpkin seeds, or almonds and other nuts, and use that in place of whole wheat flour. The texture will be denser, but it is tasty. Consult good vegetarian cookbooks for recipes on making your own bread with that type of materials. This formula, she also has some supplement choices that, you know, you should research the properties of and see if they should work for you. So we have her Heal Thyself Super Nutritional Formula, spirulina, wheatgrass, blue-green algae, chlorella. These are all really good for the blood, good for the lungs, good, just generally good for health. B vitamin complex. This is a good anti-stress vitamin. Vitamin C helps to arrest bleeding and infections, builds the immune system, calms emotional outbursts and quarrels. Vitamin E can increase oxygen capacity of blood and stimulate circulation. Lecithin is a brain food that brings oxygen to the cells by clearing clogged arteries throughout the body. Use it to cleanse and reawaken the blocked tubes in the womb. Flaxseed oil is exceptionally high in alpha linoleic acid and prevents essential fatty acid deficiencies. It's useful to the treatment of chronic degenerative diseases. To develop a colon wellness for a lighter womb, our elders believed in cleansing out the colon for every problem. You should also do the same to promote womb wellness. Using an enema 1 to 3 times weekly for up to 21 days or as many as 12 weeks if there's a chronic problem. Directions for that are page 99. This helps you also with your colon wellness. So you can be doing those internal detoxes that are supposed to push everything out. But especially if you have a chronic debilitating issue, using an enema to really clear out your body is a powerful way to really cleanse the whole colon of what's stuck inside of there and cleanse your body out. I mean, there are places you can go to get like this done, I know. For every womb affliction, drink 1 pint of fresh green juice daily. This is a combination of any green vegetables pressed in a juicer. Take some form of chlorophyll, such as alfalfa tablets, or 1 to 2 ounces of wheatgrass, spirulina, or blue-green algae diluted into vegetable water or vegetable juice or water. These green juices are helping to strengthen and rejuvenate the womb. All right. So she has this recipes from the Kitchen Healing Laboratory, which I will go ahead and put some recipes up, or rather, I'll see what I can do about putting something like this up on the Patreon so that people can like look and actually, see these types of recipes for themselves. But it's just things like, making juices, making salads, making soups, that sort of thing. The mucus trip. As I've mentioned, mucus forming foods include devitalized white flour products and dairy foods. In fact, the flesh of animals is a major cause of mucus accumulation. Daily consumption of this mucus-forming foods debilitates you, puts you to sleep psychologically, physically, spiritually. Also, tumors and cysts are basically mucus that have solidified into a mass. If mucus has accumulated in your brain, you might develop headaches, poor memory, possibly even tumors in the brain. Mucus in the eyes causes cataracts, poor vision, and red eyes. The ears causes loss of hearing and wax. Mucus in the nose causes sinus congestion, colds, hay fever. Mucus in the throat causes thyroid problems, colds, loss of voice. Mucus in the lungs causes asthma, influenza, bronchitis, low endurance. Mucus in your colon causes constipation. Mucus in your breasts causes tumors or cysts in the breasts. Mucus in your womb causes fibroid tumors, cysts, vaginal discharges, heavy bleeding, clotting. The larger the quantity of mucus-created foods that are eaten, the longer mucus-related bleeding continues. That means your menses is typically 5 to 8 days. The level of mucus trapped within the womb is indicated by how long and how heavy your monthly blood flow is. Mucus generally causes swelling of neck, hands, knees, and ankles. In men, mucus in the prostate causes tumors, cysts, impotency, and even cancer. How to break down this mucus. You use the kidney liver flesh that I read you before. You can get a colon wellness kit. That's listed in the appendix that includes like the enema bag, using those detoxes. Also flexible juices of lemons, limes, oranges, grapefruits, pineapples, and watermelon. Keep them balanced by eating a diet high in raw green vegetables as well. And the fresh, the salads, the fresh green juices. A mucus cleansing drink, take 2 grapefruits or 3 oranges and juice them. Grapefruits bring down mucus, and the fresh juice helps purge out the womb. Mix the juices together and have 1 grapefruit and 2 oranges. If your skin has a tendency to break out, it means your blood is impure and your colon is impacted. You may want to slow down on the cleansing regime a bit. have one day where you're eating the grapefruits and oranges and another day where you're doing pure fresh apple juice and pear juice. So you're not trying to like overwhelm your body, shock yourself into the system. This is something that you should be building up to day by day, making smaller choices. Really, when you're spending time at the altar, spending time in your womb journal, you should also be honing in and tuning into your own body, what it needs. And did I do too much today? Did I overexert myself, overdo it, and tomorrow I'm going to be super negatively impacted? That's not what you want, right? You're trying to make sure you're taking this journey so it's like a slow, fluid movement, like the sacred movement, like the Womb Yoga Dance. Another wonderful alternative to the citrus is cranberry juice, which has a lot of fire. Use the unsweetened kind you get at the health food store because the sweetened kind has been treated and also has tons of sugar in it. The sugar deteriorates brains, bones, and the nervous system. And that's from the inside. That's not just like, oh, sugar is sitting on your teeth when you bite a candy bar is what gives you cavities. It's the sugar consumed down your throat, in your belly, spreading out to your bones and your system. That's the sugar that's affecting your teeth, your bones, your body. All right, we're at the colon and the womb. So this is that dirty talk about the digestion and the womb. So she has these pictures here that basically show the stomach, and then there's the whole running across is the colon, and then it goes down and out, right? So she's basically saying here, is your womb under attack by the weight of your colon? Is your colon weighing down on the womb too heavily? And remember, this can cause stress in other ways, not just on the womb, but the womb is attached kind of to the back here, right? Remember, we talked about this during Punani Laddis. And because it's attached back there, it can also cause that back pain and all those other cramping pains. Oh my goodness, my kids, they're not happy. Oh, I think they're done. All right, so creating your womb, your colon wellness. I'm going to skip over a lot of what she says about it, but do the fresh vegetables and fruits. Drink fresh juices, particularly green. Drink 6 8-ounce glasses of distilled or purified water daily. 6 glasses of water every day. Take enemas and herbal laxatives such as 1 tablespoon soaked flaxseed or 2 to 4 Cascara Sagrada tablets 2 to 3 times a week. Massage your abdomen from right to left with the olive oil or the castor oil. Give yourself a womb massage. Do abdominal exercises such as leg raises, leg swings, sit-ups. Do the dance of the womb exercises. I assure you, if you have this book and you do the womb exercises, or you have Overcoming an Angry Vagina, you do those. Just picking any 5 will get your womb and your body feeling a lot different, feeling, it really switches, the positioning of where your womb is and where everything is inside of you. And I do feel like, especially if I feel like my womb area is tight, doing a little bit of the exercises helps get like my colon and everything back in place. So leg raises, laying flat on your back so there's no stress on your spine. Raise your left knee to your chest and then raise your leg 7 times. Repeat with your right knee and leg 7 times. Do for 1 to 2 rounds. Breathing rule for all body movements. As the body goes up, inhale. As the body goes down, exhale. So you can stand with your right hand holding onto a chair or table and keep your neck long, your back straight, your shoulders down. Raise your left hand behind and swing your leg back and forth. This is also another exercise. And then we have for the colon. And then we have finally the sit-ups for beginners, laying down, back flat, knees up, hands behind your head, gently sit up, moving towards your knees. Exhale as you come up. Inhale as you slowly lay back down. Do 7 to 21 times. As your stomach muscles get stronger, you can increase the number of sit-ups. Fire elements, morning drink and bath to clear colon. Most of us have prolapsed colons. Why? Because we eat late at night. We eat cooked starches, grains, a lot of them, and we don't eat enough water and greens. So, if we want to cleanse out the colon, break down the fecal stones and hard matter that are in the colon so they can pass out, then that lovely colon can come off the womb and begin to breathe. So, we have the fire element morning drink, 1 lemon, the juice of 1 lemon, a fourth of a teaspoon cayenne pepper, 2 to 4 tablespoons of cold pressed extra virgin olive oil, 8 ounces of pure water. Mix it. That's actually, I think, the one that I usually do. Actually, now that I'm reading it, I'm like, this one seems more familiar. Like, I've read the other one and made the decision not to put garlic in it before, but the fire element morning drink is definitely one that I've taken, especially for colon cleansing, getting it all out. I'm probably right after I do this, I'm probably gonna go get that started before I make myself up something. So when you start drinking the lemon juice and olive oil, you'll find a lot of gas comes out. We have a lot of gases in our bodies, and these gases affect our emotional bodies. Once the toxic winds come out, you'll start to feel better. You'll feel lighter and you'll have a more positive outlook. So after you've done this morning cleanse for a few days, try an addition of grating a little fresh ginger root. Now, this I also have done, and I do think that that bite of ginger really adds to it. Um, and you add that to the lemon juice and olive oil, that gives you this even deeper deep cleanse for the whole system. The womb feels it because ginger is like fire, and the womb represents your fire element. The womb's aura is red and orange, so the ginger fire cleanses your auric fields as well as your physical body. So yeah, the womb is the fire element, and this ginger helps. And remember also, we know the womb is fire because, right, the womb responds to heat. That's always our ultimate goal, is to make the womb warmer. You don't want a cold womb. You don't want to put ice packs, cold, those padsicles. You don't want to be doing that type of stuff, because the womb responds to heat. It's a muscle. When your muscles are warm, they're relaxed and they're loose. When your muscles are cold, they're all tight. And you're able to get those like sprains more easily, right? That's why you're supposed to warm up before sports, to warm up your muscles, because if they're cold, they're tight. They're going to be easily strained, easily overexerted, easily pulled. After you add ginger drink, add ginger to your bath. Use a piece of fresh ginger root to the size of your hand, run it through the juicer or grate it down. Add that to your bath. You want to run a little water through your juicer to get all the ginger out, and then put the juice in your bath. Or if you're using the grated, put it in a clean washcloth. Fasten that clean washcloth with a band, just like your Mojo bag. You're gonna put all of the ginger into that washcloth, fold it up, tie it, and put that into your bath. So that way you're not having to deal with picking up tiny pieces of ginger, to try and cleanse your bathtub later on. Then with the washcloth, you can drop that in the bath and then later use it to scrub your skin as well, because it's also good for removing those toxins as well. Make sure you've added a pound of dead sea salt, and as well as a few drops of your favorite essential oils, but don't use salts if you have the high blood pressure or edema. The fire element morning drink opens you up and you start feeling flushed. This is because the mucus is coming out of your lungs. Some may come out through the womb as well. With the ginger drink in the bath, you're getting the internal as well as the external cleansing. Menses. Oh, we're almost done. Menses, to bleed or not to bleed. It's a very sacred time for the menstrual period is a very sacred time. For this is when you're most spiritually in tune and sensitive to your surroundings. This is a time when you're open to receiving messages from the Most High. But keep in mind, this isn't something you can do if you're debilitated and in pain, right? You can't be, like most of us can say, if you're having a painful period, the last thing you're thinking about is like channeling downloads from the source, the spirit, whatever. You're thinking, just curling into a ball and getting through that day. sleeping through the day or whatever. Um, a womb in tune has a peaceful time during the menses. However, this advanced monthly spiritual state, it can exist only if you're truly purified. This healthy state is unlike the so-called normal person who bleeds 4 or more days, coupled with excessive womb pain and the passing of blood clots. Such a person is prey to toxic thoughts, eating toxic foods, less spiritually in tune. As a result, they're in opposition to their true divinity. This normal woman is environmentally, socially, and dietarily poisoned. Her unnatural lifestyle causes her to suffer from PMS, depression, anxiety, etc. So it's no surprise that they continue to defile their body temple with these flesh foods and fast foods, and can then continue encountering suffering in the womb. Um, she's moved on here to the breasts. Precious breasts, so big and round, precious breasts, small and profound. You are the mountains and the great hills of my world. I shall meditate on top of my world and visualize my breasts filled with the vibrant sun energy. Sacred woman could not be complete without mention of the breasts. They represent a woman's capacity to be a mother. They're also one of the areas of powerful sexual attraction. Why is it that men judge women by the size of fullness and uptilt of their breasts? Breasts represent the gift of nourishing and maintaining life. They're sacred foundations of our divine energy for both children and our lovers. Just as our babies suckle the breast for comfort and nourishment, so our lovers reenact this desire to partake in the breast's sacred nectar. The state of the breast is inextricably related to the state of the womb, and the hormones that affect the functioning of our womb interact with those that affect our breasts. This is why the same care and feeding plan presented for womb wellness food plan for the revitalization of the womb has a profound effect on our breasts as well. What will shrink the tumor in the womb is just as likely to shrink the tumor in the breast. Of course, given the epidemic of breast cancer today, it's equally important to consult your physician as well as maintaining your sacred woman approach to the body temple wellness. So I think that part is so important. Please, please, please remember that this is not about, replacing your doctor, replacing ever having to meet someone. This is about, being able to balance that home remedy with that medical scientific care that is sometimes very much needed, often very much needed, for a lot of different reasons that are very valid. So going, especially in today's climate where you've been eating Cheez-Its or processed foods since you were a kid, you've switched, but you're still living in a city, there's pollution, the very walls are made of things that have, some things that can cause cancer. Everything causes cancer. Everything got a sticker on it here in California. This causes cancer. This causes cancer. Everything causes cancer. You've got cancer. So you need to make sure that you're regularly checking in on your body to make sure that you do not have those tumors, so that you do not have those cells growing within you that are a sign of cancer to come. All right, so breast facts. October is National Breast Awareness Month. Overall, African Americans are more likely to develop cancer than other people of any racial ethnic group. This is partially because we have less resources, less wealth than a lot of other people, so we're buying a lot of these processed foods, these cancerous causing cleansing things, the things that are cheap in the dollar store, a lot of them are cancer causing, harmful. The list really goes on in that regard. Then there's the environmental racism. We're more likely to have toxic waste dumps near our homes. We're more likely to have, industrialization that pollutes near our homes, to have less laws made. Like, our laws aren't made in our communities first for these cleansing the air acts and for these regiments that are supposed to cleanse the neighborhood. So these things all continue to add up and pile on and cause it so that we are some of the main people to have cancer in this society. And then worse, once we get in the hospital, right, we have a less chance of surviving. African American women have a 5-year survival rate of 70% compared to 85% for white women. 58% of the breast cancers found in African American women had spread beyond the breasts. So the overwhelming conclusion is obvious. Early diagnosis can significantly reduce breast cancer mortality rates. Sadly, we have to fight for that because, like I said, we're not, when we go to the doctors and say something is wrong or we're getting stuff checked, etc., often we're not given the same treatment as a white woman would be given, or the same thought as a white woman would be given, the same respect. So we have to ask for these things. We have to take proactiveness in ourselves to get our breasts and wombs checked. Let's see. We must get busy, African women, we must get busy with Mother Nature to heal ourselves. Within her, we can heal ourselves naturally. So this gentle, natural care of the breasts, it's not just for breastfeeding, not just for beauty, but those two things are very important. I think when you read this quote, she says, just as our babies suckle at our breasts for comfort and nourishment, so our lovers reenact this desire to partake of the breast's sacred nectar. But she also says they are the sacred foundations of our divine energy for both our children and our lovers. She says they're the sacred foundation of our divine energy. This isn't the sacred foundation of the child's divine energy or your lover's divine energy. The breasts are yours. It's not just about, oh, I need to fix my breast up so I can feed my kids the right way, the best of the best, right? Breast the best or whatever. That this isn't about, oh, I need to fix up my breasts so they're not saggy and my lover still wants to be with me, or so that they're perkier and they're interested in me. This is about focusing on something that is the basis of your own divine energy, that is the sacred foundation of your divine energy. It is also a creation center. And a place of personal health. So to relieve the lumps and sister tumors, avoid the flesh foods, the dairy products, the white flour, live naturally. And then we have this care plan below. You let the hot shower water hit your breasts, running over to stimulate and detoxify. After this hot bath or shower, gently massage with olive oil, almond, or peanut oil. Do this nightly or at least 3 times a week for chronic problems, twice a week for maintenance. Twice a week after your shower, take some oils, massage your breasts, massage the oils into your skin, as well as be checking for anything that you might feel. Use castor oil packs over your breast 3 to 4 times a week, especially if there's some sort of issue or you're just trying to jumpstart your healing, jumpstart into your healing regimen with your breasts. Castor oil pack, you, let's see, she said go to page 100. I want to make sure I say this right. Okay, yeah. Boil some water, dip it in, dip a cloth, a clean cloth, a white washcloth, a flannel, dip it into this hot water, wring it out so it's damp with this hot water, then saturate it with cold pressed castor oil. Pour the castor oil all over the washcloth, then put it to the place that you want it, your womb. But here we're talking about the breasts. You're going to do that twice, to have them on your breasts, covering completely with that hot oil pack. Basically, it's this is messy, so you're not wearing something you love. You're probably just naked, nothing but you, but your waist beads and a towel on the floor beneath you. You know what I mean? Where was I? Place cat clay packs. Use a queen's clay, or use powdered green or red clay or black mud. These all can be found at the health food stores. Mix them, put them, spread them over, cover both breasts. Place the gauze side over the breast and tape the gauze there. Keep it overnight. In the morning, you can remove. So you can do arm swings. This also helps with the breasts. You can do breast contractions, bringing it in and out, holding your arms out in front of you. Open your chest as you bring your arms behind you and then contract. Breastfeeding is recommended not only for the sake of the child, but the mother. It helps the baby build the immune system, also creates the bond. Let's see. If you have heavy bleeding and tumors and constant menstrual pain, maintain a diet that consists of 50% green juices with water and herbal teas. That's page 138 to 139. The remaining 50% of your diet should be green vegetables, preferably raw and or light steamed, as well as some protein sources, sprouts, lentils, peas. Fast from starches and all kinds during this period. Let me see. Oh, I also, quick reminder to don't forget to make yourself some waist beads. I know the month is wrapping up. We're supposed to make waist beads or have them by the end of the month. We are on clay pack external. Put the clay inside of cheesecloth. Put a tablespoon of clay into cheesecloth. Place that inside the vaginal entrance and leave it for 30 to 60 minutes. Remove the clay by gently washing and rinsing. The clays draw out toxins. So if you need an internal cleansing, this is like the original yummy pearl, y'all. You put some clay inside of that little cheesecloth, tie it up, and then you're doing something, listening to music, meditating, perhaps, just swaying to some music, playing music, some sacred music to yourself, singing, however it is you want to spend that time, 30 to 60 minutes, and then take it out and go take a shower. Make sure you rinse the clay, any clay residue that may come out off. Clay suppositories. You can take 1 tablespoon of Queen Afua's clay or Fuller's earth, put it up your vagina, then pull it out like a suction pump. It's not about neatness, just do it. Be natural. Leave the clay there for about an hour. Then wash it out with the shower spray or spray bottle of purified water. The clay flushes and cleanses you out. So you can use the clay just to quick wash the womb out, wash the vagina out. Clay represents the Great Mother Earth, so you can apply the clay pack to your womb overnight, and do this around the full moon as well for profound revelation. So that's why we played the Mud Woman Clan, because we are doing all these clay packs. Mix fresh ginger juice with the clay, and then apply that. Keep it overnight, and then shower it off in the morning. Let's see. She also had a leaf and clay poultice. 6 weeks after surgical stitches have been removed, if you have had surgery, make sure the wound is completely closed. Fill a large leaf of dark green vegetables such as spinach, cabbage, kale, or collard greens with the clay, and place the clay-filled leaf on the wounded area. Cover with gauze and secure the ends, and allow the poultice to remain overnight. By morning, the clay absorbs the toxins and begins to rejuvenate the womb. Remove the gauze and greens and spray the shower on the pelvis. During that day, apply cold pressed castor oil and liquid vitamin E oil over the pelvis, and then cover the area to avoid staining clothing with the oil. We have the pelvic massage. Briskly rub hands together to heat them up. Bring forth the magnetism, the healing energy that flows within them. Offer up a prayer to your ancestor, a blessing, say what it is you're going to do, and then use the oil, massaging particularly from right to left several times. Use olive oil, vitamin E oil, almond oil. Speak affirmations to your womb, speak wellness, speak prayer. Then let's see, we have also, she advises looking into reflexology massage. When you massage this one area and other parts of your body respond. But be very careful with this, especially if you're pregnant or trying to become pregnant, because certain massages, especially like ankle, I know, can cause abortion or other, bodily functions that you were intending to occur. Okay. Make sure above all else that you rest. Don't be overexerting yourself. Like, oh, I've got to rise from 4 to 6 a.m. dance like rigorously from 4 to 4:45. Then I do this spiritual bath, drain myself of all the energy. Then I do that. Then I do this. Like, and then you're by 9 o'clock a.m. You're exhausted. You're ready for a nap every damn day. Like, that's not what you should be doing. That level of work every day. Really follow your body. Really listen to yourself. If your body is saying you need to rest, definitely follow your intuition with how your spiritual journey should be going. Don't be lazy, but do be following your intuition and not, wearing yourself down to the bone, making yourself sick to try and rectify all this damage, because you do have time, and it does require patience, and it did take a long time to get to where you are now. So it will take a long time to go. So, she also says, just do it. Everybody's always like, oh, I don't know if the time is right. I know a lot of people are like, can I even start? Can I join? Is it like, I'm going to wait until the new year? Hopefully you're not waiting until 2020 to get your life together. But I mean, the time to start is always now. All the gateways are so interconnected. All of the different information is so valid at any point in your life. And it's something you're probably always going to need to hear, that I do believe that it's something that, we should just jump in and just do it. Okay, so she had like taking care of yourself, the womb scroll. The womb scroll is like really good stuff, but we're gonna skip that part. Skipping how to use the womb scroll. Okay. Finally, we're going to skip all the way to page 119. And because she has, the womb scrolls, and she just advises different stones to use at each gateway, different, foods to eat at each different levels, different flower essences, different, just those little details that, you should just purchase the book if you're really interested in taking it to that level. But I mean, already it's like, if this is your first time going through it, especially, this is a lot of information. Like, and this circle is really long, obviously, because we're just trying to finish this gateway. January is almost over, and this gateway has so much going on. And there's so much prerequisite that, we weren't really able to complete it first. I don't know. So it's like we had the graduation the last day of December, but then January, starting over, we had to start over with the altars and connecting and getting some of this basic information. So this happened last year too, I remember, was these first circles were super long, and through this information, the foundation, right, is what we're laying right here with Gateway 0. So page 119, womb work wisdom, hands-on wellness techniques, right? We're always talking about hands-on, laying hands, using the energy. You don't need this, you don't need that, you don't need all these different things. You don't need a magic wand. It's nice to have a crystal wand. It's nice to have a stick, a staff. It's nice to have all these like crystals and plants and this and that. But at the end of the day, all we need is these hands, right? Use wellness techniques to release womb trauma. Allow 1.5 hours. This procedure should be done at least 3 times a week. Go to your womb room, your bedroom, your altar room. If you have, the opportunity to make one room an altar room, I wish I could do that. I think that would be awesome. Someday I'll get a 4-bedroom house, right? That would be really nice to, make an alcove maybe outside if you have that opportunity. Then there's also, it's like, let's say you're like, you can sit by the altar, but if you don't even have an altar, just take your Mojo bag and go find somewhere sacred to sit and spend time and make a sacred space for that. So step 1, the sacred womb prayer. Face the east. Offer a prayer at your womb altar. Identify those womb concerns and call forth a womb solution. So that part is like you're the commander. So now, like I said, start with that sacred woman prayer. Call out to your specific ancestor. Grandmother Anne, hold me near, close to your bosom. Protect me from all harm and fear beneath the stones of life. And then you're going to, talk about your womb concerns, talk about why it is you're taking this journey, talk about, and call forth the womb solutions, call forth the energy, magnetize that, use yourself as an attractive force, and call forth that energy to you of whatever type of specific healing you have that you need, physical, like tumors, that sort of the thing, abuse, just really connecting with yourself, finding your place. Maybe it's just like as simple as that. You're like, I'm just looking for, who am I? What how do I hone myself into who it is I'm trying to be, whatever that is, you know what I mean? So be specific about what you're using this womb energy for. Drink a charged stone water to charge the womb. um Use a stone chart. She has one in here, a little what we just skipped. But there's nothing but information online about stones, crystals, using them, that type of thing. Look into that. Use what you have. Like if I have like I have a couple quartz, that's about it. Make sure whatever it is, it's not gonna dissolve though. There are some crystals that do dissolve in water. So to identify your womb needs and select a stone. Place that healing stone in a cup of distilled water for a few moments, or have a bottle of stone water and place it under a pyramid for further charging. So if you have one of those little like copper pyramids or brass pyramids, you can place the cup under there. You can place the stone inside the water for just a little while, swirl it, say a blessing, and be done. And then drink that water. Saying the blessing, even if you don't even have a stone, just saying a blessing over the water does wonders as well. Drink the an herbal tonic to flush the womb. She has the woman's womb tonic. You can make others using specific herbs needed. Use 2 teaspoons of herbs for every 2 cups water boiled. Steep 30 minutes, or for very potent tonic, steep for 4 hours or overnight and drink in the morning. Make a ginger drink for internal fire, juicing 1/4 of the cup of fresh ginger root, adding to a pint of distilled water and the juice of a lemon. Step 3, ginger womb sweat with sauna, steam baths, salt seaweed baths to externally burn up and draw out toxins. Rest under the light. So sweating in a sweat room, take for 15 to 20 minutes, then take hot and cold showers over the pelvic area between sessions. Take a hot bath for 30 minutes to 1 hour. 2 to 4 pounds Epsom salts, 1 to 3 pounds Dead Sea salts with 1 cup of seaweed. Pour water into a bowl and soak seaweed for 30 minutes or overnight. Add to a hot bath. Now lay down and rest over crystal charged bed. Place crystals under your mattress or at the 4 corners of the bed, and one in a very center to purify your spiritual bodies, which are direct reflections of your physical body. So I think that's like an excellent, suggestion. Take crystals and arrange them in a mandala under your mattress. Take crystals and put them at the 4 corners of your bed, and one in the center. Take crystals and use them to make a line of crystals for your partner, whoever sleeps in bed with you, and a line of them for yourself. You could potentially even do this to your kids' room if they don't know that you've done it, especially older kids who aren't like trying to lift the mattress and play around like babies do. You can just put the crystals under there, and most of them wouldn't even notice the difference, right? Let's see. Also, let's see. If you have a meeting, place in the 4 corners of the room or the meeting space, or to mark your meeting space if you're having a womb circle with more than one person. Mark your space with the crystals. The other thing I was going to say with the sauna, I know like when you hear stuff like that, especially it's like if you live somewhere where you're like, how's that? When will I go to a sauna and go like sit for 20 minutes and then like go home and take a bath? Like what are you talking about? My suggestion when I was reading that, let's see. Let's see. Where did I put this? And of course, I totally don't even have the colored version of Punani Proverbs on me in here. I think I took it into the other room the other day. Anyways, okay, the point of saying that was I wanted to show you a page of Pagani Proverbs. This is the $20 version that's black and white. This shows womb saunas. Like, so traditionally when you hear about like yoni steaming, people are talking about a wet womb sauna using herbs in a bowl, pouring hot water, the steam, subsequent steam, herbal steam rises, caresses the body, the yoni, the vulva, and affects the body, right? The heat relaxes the womb, releasing toxins as well that way. Spiritually, techniques are being used here as well. Oh, this is a technique that is found, in a lot of places around the world. The second part of that is the dry womb sauna, which is also detailed. This is all in Punani Proverbs and goes into much more detail than I'm about to go into now. This originates in Africa, and essentially what would happen, put it in the earth, bury it so that only the top can be seen, put herbs inside, and set fire to these herbs, and use that fire, burning the wood and the herbs, specific woods, specific herbs, comes up and caresses the body, and it would tint the woman's, and it was used medicinally sometimes by men, but mostly used for women to tighten the vaginal canal, to for womb health, to give the skin that beautiful color, as like a slight tint of orange, as well as a slight scent that is preferred over there. Here, it will smell like to people like, oh, it's burning or something. But yeah, so in essence, that's what I have here. So I wanted to show you the picture though, because this is a way to do it at home. Let me see if I can scoot forward here. So this is a way to do it at home. You will have a big pot, and you can take one of those lawn chairs and cut a hole, start small and get bigger, and cut a hole. And yeah, so you would make a nice steam that can come up through the vagina, as well as cover yourself in a blanket so that you are trapping that heat in with you, and able to do that for, start with 5 to 10 minutes and work your way up, especially if doing a dry sauna for the first time. Like, a lot of people find that the hot steam and the hot smoke both are a lot, especially when you're first starting. Okay, almost make sure, let's see, step 4, womb breathing to release blockages. Do Mott feather meditation, which is gateway 0. I'm going to be making the Mott feather meditation and uploading one for use. Step 4, step 5, use affirmations for empowerment. Step 6, call on the Neterutu, midwives, healers, to aid you in prayer for the healing of the sacred womb. Step 7, guided womb meditation using nature visualizations or a Mott meditation. Step 8, using hot castor oil packs on your womb for 30 minutes to an hour. Step 9, using womb clay packs and leaving them on for several hours. Keeping your legs elevated also helps. Step 10, drink green drinks with vegetables, chlorophylls, etc. Step 11, your womb journal work. Make sure you're doing that. Try to do it at least once a week, preferably every day between the hours of 4 and 6 a.m. Womb chamber. So this is the final part, your womb chamber. This is the first room that you're to build off from your altar and spread that energy and wellness to the rest of your room. I'm starting to do it in here. I have, on my desk over there, I have like a little, a beautiful heart-shaped glass dish that has, my little things on it that I'm trying to charge and keep energized. I have a wooden raised little circle tray for my husband's little items and things that he needs to keep track of, as well as add some energy, some crystals, some cleansing to his, his keys, his cards, his little things. There's a candle on there too. I have like our sex altar. I have all these little touches that I'm building up in here. I have to hurry up before my kids kill each other. My baby. He's miserable. I took a long time today though. Alright, you guys, I'll be right in. I only have just a couple minutes. Alright, so this is the last page of the chapter, y'all. And we're gonna be getting into the 9 gateways of initiation and really getting into what that means. All right, so to uplift the vibration of your womb chamber, the color of the room, the sheets of the and your gown should all be white, lavender, pastel blue, green, or green to psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually balance your body temple. This healing room, environmental healing room, is a tool to speed up, charge, and rejuvenate. Have plants in the corners of the room, music, sound healing, music like harps, finger pianos, zither, chimes, bells, light drums like my pan drum here, candles. Use particular candles on the chart as needed to charge yourself. Getting pyramid, lay down on the floor mat or a slant board through the session under a pyramid if possible. If you can, I they probably sell that on Amazon or something, but I know that they can be expensive, like on Etsy and such. Stones, crystals on the 4 corners and the 4 directions. Hold on, Taka, I'll be right there. You can also place them on your womb according to blockages and just meditate laying down on your back that way. Lights, colored lights using red or orange or yellow for 30 minutes. Then for 30 minutes, use green, blue, or purple for like a deeper tone to ease and soothe the womb. Aromatherapy and burning of essential oils. Anoint oils on your body, burn them, on your diffusers and such for according to womb blockage, for emotional and spiritual health, inner balance and harmony. Add a few drops of oil to a hot pan of boiling water. And that will diffuse to the whole house, right? I did talk about that in Punani Proverbs too. Using fresh herbs, boiling them can spread the smell to the rest of the house, cleansing the house. So you don't have to necessarily burn herbs all the time, right? You just have to add water to a pot and just have that natural herbal scent wafting through your house, cleansing. Then you can also use just essential oils. Boil that water, just a couple drops of the essential oil you need, and that steam will spread out throughout the house, giving that beautiful smell. Ventilation, make sure your room is well ventilated. So I keep referring to this chamber as your room, but obviously if you have like an altar room, like a corner of your bedroom, but obviously if you have an altar room, you can take this to the next level and have, an amazing room somewhere. All the trials and tribulations, pain, strife, and hurts, the lessons of life have made you into a diamond. You'll find in time there's nothing more important in life than finding and being in your sacred center. What is it to be sacred? To be sacred is to realize and hold the vision that you are in divine oneness with the universe. To be sacred is to be in alignment with the divine presence that is indwelling and serves as the guided light for us all. Sacredness is the liberating force that renders us dynamically complete and whole in mind, body, and spirit. When you are seeking your sacredness, rely on the feather of Mont for guidance. All right, congratulations. We have finished Gateway 0. Next week will be much shorter, I very much assure you. Look at this. This is Gateway 0. This is all the other gateways, right? So we will definitely not be having such long sessions anymore, though I did enjoy it. Don't think my kids enjoyed it, but I did enjoy it. I do enjoy recapping this information, um, and coming to be more and more familiar with it. It's one of something that I feel really honored to do. And I definitely, even though I'm still learning and I'm still growing, every time I go through it, I just get so reaffirmed because I'm able to apply the knowledge that I've had in the past, and things that I'm learning now, and really combine them and see a more whole picture of womb health, of womanhood, of wombs, and people who have them, and the struggles that we go through as people who have wombs, the struggles you go through as a person who is a woman, the struggles you go through as someone who has been abused or who has abused themselves through eating or whatever, or who is like had lack of honest opportunity because of certain things. So it's really an honor to be able to get with you and um, have you join me on this journey as I'm growing and I'm still learning as well. So I'll see you all next week. I hope you make the grains for a dry food offering for your altar, for your ancestors, or to use for your, mojo bag, whatever your situation is. And also don't forget to make waist beads. Lastly, don't forget that there's the freedom quilt. We are all supposed to be making something to represent the womb, some type of art that will, like a quilt square, a crochet square, a glue a bunch of felt on top of each other, make clay sculptures or figurines for each gateway. Whatever it is, gateway 0 should have something that can really speak to your situation, right? That speaks to your journey or speaks to what sacred womb means to you. So those are your 3 assignments. I know that's a lot of homework, but they're not that too long. The last one, the freedom quilt, that will take a long time, but the other ones are pretty quick, especially if you're just buying some waist beads. All right, so thank you so much for joining me. It's been a real pleasure. And until I see you next Monday, may your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads.